Joel Embiid dropped the 70 piece on the San Antonio Spurs.
You
are Locked On 76ers, your daily Philadelphia 76ers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for making Locked On 76ers your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you make a $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. Mitch, last night, the 76ers defeated the San Antonio Spurs 133-123. But the story of the game was Joel Embiid scoring a franchise record 70 points. He did it on 24 of 41 shooting. He made 21 of 23 free throws. He had 18 rebounds, 9 offensive, 5 assists, 1 block, 1 steal, and just 1 turnover. Now, first of all, I didn't even introduce us, bro. I apologize. I'm Keith Pompey. This is my right-hand man, John Mitchell. I guess I got caught up in last night's game, whatever, and all whatnot. But
yeah.
Mitch, what did we witness last night?
Man, we witnessed a transcendent performance, man. You know, we were talking about this just yesterday that, the Sixers might win. They'll cruise to victory. They'll win by 10. And we'll get a chance to see the present, and we'll get a chance to see, in Embiid, and we'll get a chance to see the future in Wemby. But man, what we saw was history. We saw a guy who, the Sixers have been around for 70-some years, in Warriors, Sixers, whatever. And, for this guy to go out and drop 70, it seems like an almost effortless 70, mid-range, inside, over the head, no look, dump over the 8.5-foot wingspan, whatever Wemby is.
8 foot wingspan.
I'm sitting there. I watched the game with my mom. I said, man, I'm going to go see my mom this evening. So I drove over to West Philly, check out my mom.
Mom doing well?
Yeah, she's doing good. And she went, she went to Brook with Wilt. She graduated from Wilt. She grew up on
okay.
Yeah, so, my mother actually has letters from Wilt Chamberlain when he was in Kansas. They were that close. And she stays in touch with the family. His sister out in Vegas. And it was just, just watching this guy do what he did so effortlessly, so casually, and I might add efficiently. Like, if some guy, he was still looking to pass the ball while they were funneling him the ball, and rightly so towards the end of the game. He was still looking to make passes out of the double team, Key.
Yeah.
So that's a sign of incredible maturity. You're almost at a loss of words to describe the greatness that we saw yesterday. And again, stay healthy, Joel. Good God Almighty, stay healthy, man, and get to this postseason and put something on these people. Because
let me ask you a question though. You said your mom went to high school with Wilt.
Mm-hmm.
They wrote letters and whatnot while he was in Kansas. So that tells you they close friends. What did she think of the performance last night? Because she saw Wilt play. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know what I mean? So what did she think of the performance?
Yeah, and my mom, she played at Cheney State. She played ball at Sandy State. She played the Christian Street Y. I know I'm dating myself and dating my mom, but she was amazed. She loves basketball, and we watch ball together sometimes, and she'll call me when games are on. She loves Steph Curry. That's her guy right now. She loves Steph Curry's game. And she was just blown away. She was like, we're sitting there saying, John, Patrick Ewing, David Robinson, the Dream, who's my favorite big man. She said, he's, I'm critical of some of the younger players, but this guy, he's got everything, And sometimes, my mom knows as much basketball as some of these guys who get paid to talk about it on the airwaves. And I'm not BSing either. I just, when you hear some of the things that come out of their mouths, she knows as much as some of them. So, she loved it, man. I haven't seen my mom that happy watching this sporting event in a minute.
Yeah. That's the thing. That's the thing right there. The one thing you said, people being happy about it. Your mom knows basketball. She knows Wilt. And I think that's the most important thing, because someone like that can put it in perspective.
Right.
Because there's a lot of people out there, like, every time Joel Embiid does something, I don't know if you get it, but I get it from people saying, look, bro, it's great that Joel Embiid did this, but he ain't nowhere close to Wilt. Now, I'm not trying to compare him to Wilt at all. Like, I get it. Like, Wilt scored 70 several times, above 70 several times.
Yeah.
But the one thing is that, we haven't seen someone do stuff like this in years.
Right.
And, the thing is, we look at Joel Embiid and you talk about how big he is, 7'2", listed 280, I think is closer to 300. And I'm not saying he's fat.
Yeah.
I'm just saying he's 7'2". We big dude.
Yeah.
Right. So the thing is, with that being said, the stuff that he does is guard-like. His mid-range jumpers are like layups and dunks, right? His dunks are forceful. The funny thing about last night is that was the first time that he went up against somebody that was bigger than him. And if initially you saw how Wemby's height forced him to alter his shot and do certain things.
Yeah.
But guess what happened? He was strong. He got to the foul line. He was able to bump Wemby. He was able to do all types of things. That showed a lot, man, because average guy didn't do it. And now we look at it, and I'll be honest, there was a time when players like Shaq and Barkley, they were extremely critical of Embiid.
Yeah.
Because why? Because Embiid's game is different.
Right.
Embiid didn't want to be the traditional center that just on the block, turns around, and boom, or does some other things. Now we're praising him for being himself. And what he did yesterday, now granted, let's keep it real. Some people are going to say, look, man, that was the Spurs. It was a 8-35 team Spurs.
It's a traveling clown show.
Traveling clown show. Yeah, traveling clown show. But for this guy to score 24 points in the first quarter and come back with 25 in the third, we're talking about 49 points over 2 quarters, right? And for him to do exactly what he did, the way he did it, and like you said, he was still looking to get teammates involved.
Yeah.
It says a lot, man. It says a lot about his performance. More power to him. More power to him.
Because the crazy thing is he can beat the double team up top. He can beat the double team down low, which is amazing to me. But he's looking, a few of those mishandled passes he threw to wide open sixes. He could have had a few more assists, and it's interesting. He was being interviewed post game last night, and somebody mentioned to him, well, Joel, and this shows his respect for history. I think it was Kay Scott. She said, Joel, you have only you and Michael Jordan. You're the only players in league history to ever have I think it was a 65, 18, and 5 line. And he looked at her and said, oh, you mean Wilt didn't do that? And I was like, wow. So Wilt resonates with us, but he resonates with some of these young guys, man, the numbers that Wilt put up. But yeah, he did everything in the flow of the game. I loved it. You know, I saw, and I know you noticed it a few times. One time he caught the ball in the paint, and you know, the spirit of Shaq took over, and he was like, you know, listen, Wemby, let me give you this elbow, which I know you won't recover from, and the refs won't call. And he cleared him out, completely cleared him out from under the basket, and went for an easy bucket to basket. The stuff we've been begging him to do, the stuff that we are going to demand that he do when they play Porzingis lightweight behind. You know, so yeah, it's what couldn't he do last night? The mid-range thing is sick. The mid-range thing is absolutely sick. He's not stepping out for those threes, but if he were to do it, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've watched him play and say, no, don't do that. And I was wrong. But yes, it's all come together for him, man. It's all come together for him. And yes, it was the traveling clown show. But they do have a player who, let's be quite honest, remember the future, the league is going to be his in the future. But right now it's Joel's.
Yeah, exactly right. Right now it's Joel's. And, you know, Joel's that dude. And he showed Wemby like, bruh, it ain't your time just yet. It might be in a little bit, but I'm the present right now.
Right.
Just chill. But look, man, we got to get some game action when we get back. We want to talk. I mean, like, yes, it was the Joel Embiid show, but this was the Sixers' sixth victory in a row.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're a half a game behind the Milwaukee Bucks for second place in the Eastern Conference standings. So we'll talk more about the team in this second segment. But right now, I want to talk to y'all about FanDuel. The NFL season is wrapping up, but there's still time to get into the action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. The app is so easy to use. There are so many different ways to bet, like live same day parlay, find bets in the new Explorer tab, make a parlay in the Parlay Hub, the best way to find popular parlays, and more. So visit fanduel.com/lockedon to make your first bet a layup. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On Plus, our national shows covering every league. Go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. Well, Mitch, when we talk about the game, a lot of it was Joel Embiid, and we know that. He scored 70 points. He scored more than half of his team's points. They scored 133. But there were certain things that really stood out to me. Like, for instance, the Sixers had 28 assists to 4 turnovers, right?
Mm-hmm. Beautiful.
Yeah. As a team now Joel had 9 of them. But the Sixers had 19 they had 19 offensive rebounds, right?
Mm-hmm.
They had 48 rebounds. They won that one. I mean, the thing is, it just looked like the guys were trying to get Joel involved, but at the same time, you know, you have to be pleased with the performance overall because let's face it, Robert Covington is still out. Mo Bamba didn't play. Patrick Beverley is still out.
Yeah.
Marcus
Morris.
Yeah, Marcus Morris. They're saying he'll be back hopefully the next game.
Mm-hmm.
And then DeAnthony Melton. But you know, guys like KJ Martin came in and stepped up, a guy who probably won't be here past the trade deadline.
I like him. I like
Paul,
his
you like him?
Like his athleticism.
Yeah.
Man.
Oh man, it's on fire. Paul Reed had 6 points, 8 rebounds, 5 offensive. Just, I mean, your thoughts on the overall win and the fact that they got a 6-game winning streak.
Yeah, well, yesterday we were talking about You know how sometimes when you play that final, because it's almost like they're still out on a road trip, you know, because they just came off the road trip, you know, and now they're getting ready to go back out with some really serious competition at the front end of the road trip. But like you just rattled off the names they don't have, you know, all those players, and you know they're on a 6-game winning streak. I think that the first winning that streak came without Joel in the lineup, if I'm not mistaken. You know, so you know this team, you know, kudos and shout outs to Nick Nurse, man, because he has, you know, the team has a synchronicity that they never achieved last season. They're playing on a rope, they're playing on a string. They're beating the teams they're supposed to beat. They're getting wins when they're short-handed, and you can never discount that. So you know, and again, just looking at the game last night, you know, all the assists, all the ball movement, and you know, cutting down the turnovers. Joel going to the offensive glass. There have been some questions about their rebounding lately, and if that might pop up again when they do get to the inevitable postseason. So I think they're playing well. You know, they you know, we'll get a chance to see them hit the road and get some stiff tests. But you know, and not to place too much on this 70-point effort. It's hard. It's the elephant in the room today. But the reality of it is, this stuff has got to translate to the postseason. You know, I can't tell you how many people I talked to last night, at least two, and they're naysayers. They love Embiid's game, but they say, listen, man, we haven't gotten past the second round since 2001. It's time for that to happen. It's one thing to put up 70 in January against a traveling clown show. It's another thing to do it against Boston, say Milwaukee, Miami, whoever. You know, when the grass starts to turn green, the flowers are coming up. Well, nowadays the flowers come up in late February because of a global warming situation. But that's a different story. So, you know, but I like the way they're playing. You know, they're efficient. It's hard. The way they're playing right now, they're playing good basketball. They're scoring the basketball. They win ugly games like they did. I think it was against Charlotte the other night. They are.
Yeah, I know. I don't mean to cut you off, bro. But my thing is, I sometimes say, hey, it's good to win those games. It is, of course. It's better than a loss. But I didn't like the way they played at all in that one.
Yeah.
I just felt like they was doing a little bit too much hero ball.
That's
but I'll let you continue. Sorry.
Yeah. So you know, as they and I hear you. I mean, that was an ugly game. But you know, it's good to get these 6 in a row and now go out on a road where you're going to get some good tests early on. And you know, things can happen on the West Coast. You know, it's the West Coast. It's a trip. You're playing in three time zones removed. You know, when they go out there against Utah, Golden State. So, but you know, particularly, you know, this kind of washes away for a lot of Philadelphia sports fans the horrible taste of uncooked peas that the football team left in their mouths. You know, you know that which looks like a clown show, but I digress right now. So I'm looking forward to the rest of this season. What Joel Embiid will continue to display, and the possibility of maybe adding a player, because do you want to waste the level of play which we haven't seen in years?
Yeah, we'll talk more about that in the next segment because that's the main thing. But here's the thing, Mitch, this upcoming trip. So they won 6 in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the one thing that I want to say about the upcoming trip is that we're really going to find out how good this team is on the road. And the reason why I'm saying that is we thought that the road trip when they had a Christmas trip, when they went to Miami, then Orlando, and then Houston.
Yeah.
And, you know what I mean? We thought that in Chicago, we thought that was going to tell us a lot. But Nick Batum only played in the final game.
Right.
And Joel Embiid missed the whole trip. Now, granted, I'm looking at this trip, And, they start off at Indiana, a good team.
Mm-hmm.
Denver, that's going to be lit, right? And then they have a back-to-back with Portland and the Golden State Warriors. And then they conclude the trip at Utah. So we're looking at it like it's top-heavy in the front. And then the other ones should be, they should win.
Right.
But the thing is, we're talking about a back-to-back. You never know what can happen.
Yeah.
You never know. And then, Steph is going to be motivated. The other guys are going to be motivated. Golden State. I hate to say it, call them a trap game, but it could be a trap game, right? Because they're good, just because they're good.
Right.
But I want to see, we're going to learn a lot about the Sixers against Indiana, and we're going to learn a lot about them against Denver on the road. A lot about Joel. Now, the one thing is, it's going to be the first time that Joel Embiid played in Denver since 2019. So we're going to learn a lot about the 76ers.
Pull out the oxygen. Pull out the oxygen mask.
Yeah, man. Pull out, better get that hyperbaric chamber for the brother when he out there. Do all that, right? So we'll see. So that's a lot. But look, when we get back, we got to talk about the importance of, possibly seeing if they can make a move, right? Like we see what Daryl Morey can do, because you never know. Like you said, this is a great opportunity for the Sixers. And do you really want to waste it? I don't think they do, right? So we'll talk about that. But right now, I want to talk to y'all about PrizePicks. PrizePicks is the largest daily fantasy sports platform in North America. We are the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. It's just you against the numbers. Instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros and sharks, you pick more than or less than 2 or 6 players stat projections to watch the winnings roll in. Now, with the basketball season here, you can now pick combo projections across football and basketball from our special league, a league created specifically for combo projections that include 2 or more players from a different sport or league. For example, LeBron James plus Travis Kelce at a 10.5 combo of 3-pointers made plus receptions. Want to play alongside some of PrizePicks' favorite players like rapper Meek Mill or comedian Andrew Schultz? You can now find community plays under the promos tab of the app to view entries for some of the biggest names in the PrizePicks community each week, right? So this is what y'all got to do. Go to prizepicks.com/lockedon and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. Again, go to prizepicks.com/lockedonnba and use codes LOCKEDONNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. It is highly encouraged to do this. I'm telling y'all, if y'all want to make that money, do what you got to do. I'm encouraging it. Do it today, people. Definitely. I'm telling you, do it today. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On Plus, our national shows covering every league. Go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. Now, Mitch, you think, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but
you're about to.
I'm going to put words in your mouth. You think that this is the way Joel is playing right now?
Mm-hmm.
They can't afford to waste this time. With that being said, you think they need to go out there and get another player? I'm just asking.
Yeah,
okay.
No, they are at an inflection point. You have Embiid, but you've seen this before but you've seen great play from him before. They have excellent chemistry right now. And yes, we all get excited about the trade deadline. We've seen Indy get better. We've seen the Knicks get better. But with with the 76ers situation where they have cap flexibility, they have roster flexibility. I'm tamping that down. The guy I would like to see them bring in here is still DeJounte Murray. I would love to see him brought in here. I think Caruso would be a guy, a guy who can hit the three, a guy who can play defense. I'm backing away from the Levins of the world. But I also know that Nick Nurse is the guy who said, "Listen, I won a championship before. We had the right pieces in Toronto." And I know when his door closed and when he goes off the record with you guys, he's probably like, "Man, look at this! Look how this guy's playing." It's if you add one more, and I'm putting words in his mouth, and I'm just thinking out loud. But if you put the right piece, if everybody is healthy, we always talk about move Tobias, but do you really want to? The way Tobias is a very, very, very good three this year. What I say? Go out and add an Andre Drummond type if you can extract him from Chicago. I'm kind of high on guys like that, guys who you're not going to have to sit there and revamp your offense. Get Kelly Oubre's game to continue to rise. I like seeing him playing defense against guards now, giving them more length. So, but again, it goes back to, you have a generation. I mean, when we say generational player, this guy's at a level above wherever Allen Iverson played. You know what I mean? Which is saying a lot. And I know in Philly it can be.
You said a level above?
Yeah, he's playing. Yeah, I was covering the league when when AI.
Yeah, that says a lot. Yo,
yeah.
I mean, and here's the reason. I'm like, the reason why I'm saying that I'm not. I'm. You know what? It's funny. There was a player in the locker room.
Mm-hmm.
It's just locker room.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna name the player,
Mm-hmm.
but he told me that Embiid was better than AI.
So
now get this. So he said, "Keith, he better than him." And I said, "Word?"
Yeah.
And he says, let's just hold off right now.
Yeah.
I don't want to put
That's
it
not
out.
On the that's not on the record, Keith.
People going to think I'm crazy. That's why I'm not saying who the guy is, right?
Yeah.
He said, but people going to think I'm crazy. And I was like, dude, better than AI? And he was like, I'm telling you, Keith, this dude is special. I've never seen anyone play like Embiid. And I'm like, so I said, better than AI, right? I kept saying it. Yeah. And he says, all right, let's not put that out there just yet. Let's not put it out there just yet.
Yeah.
Now, so my thing is for you to say that,
mm-hmm.
and you covered the league for a while, and you know all these other people. I mean, it's like it's like okay.
Yeah, I mean, I sat courtside about 1,500 games, Keith. Playoffs, caught the end of the MJ era, covered him in Washington, when he was floor Jordan. He went Air Jordan. He was floor Jordan by that time, and I have to be quite honest, man. I mean, as an old timer, we have a hard time yielding to the present. But man, if you know basketball, you know what you're looking at. You know what you're looking at. And again, if we had a table full, they would say, yeah, but this is January, and that was San Antonio. And I would say you're absolutely right. And the last thing I want to see Joel Embiid be is a player who is a two-time MVP and the only two-time MVP to never reach the finals, never play for a championship. So, but this roster just looks is a fool's goal. It's a fool's goal because we know we see him limping into April and May, and you can never discard that with this team. As great as he was last night, you can never discard that.
Yeah, I mean, I like the roster. The problem is with the roster, we never had like an extended period of time to see what they can do.
Yeah,
I mean, you know what I mean? Because everybody's getting hurt. Like Cove and D Milk been out for a minute. People don't realize statistically they're two of the best defenders in the league. And the brother's been hurt, both of them.
Yeah.
Batum, like he plays a little bit, and then next thing you know, he's out.
Right.
So it's like it's a deep squad, but you're right. They probably do need a ball handler, a guy that I think that they could go after could be Malcolm Brogdon. But the problem with that is Portland is going to try to win the deal, right?
Yeah.
So it is what it is. But you're raising a great point. But look, y'all, we don't want to be too long-winded here. Have you guys saying, "Yo, they just blabbling, 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 blabbling." So we want to thank y'all for listening. We really do. We want y'all to have a blessed day. We want y'all to know you can get this podcast wherever you get your podcast at, free and available, right? You just do that. But again, thanks for listening, and we will hope y'all have a blessed day. Peace.
Have a good one, y'all.